My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast. And that was a delayed reaction.
Oh, I'm just so excited. And I just went to speak in French and realized I don't have to because we've got our very own French speaker joining us.
Dominike! How are we going?
Bonjour, bonjour les amis.
Yeah, that's French.
Oui. That is not French.
That's not just saying le before something.
That would basically never say le.
Exactly. Thank you. She's on my team. How are we going? It's fantastic to finally get to talk to you.
Oh, I'm so happy to talk to you. It's been a serious ride. When the show was over, I swore I would not watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna wait years before I watch it. I want to hear the comments because I said so many stupid things on the show. Like, you're on a break for 4 hours. Do you expect people to be serious for 4 hours? No. And I don't know what the guys recorded. We were mic'd all day long.
Yeah.
And I was so scared of everything that would get out of that microphone. And I'm still not watching that show. I'm gonna look so stupid. And I couldn't resist, but I don't regret it.
No, you shouldn't. No. And it's one of those things too where, and like the miking thing is really interesting because we've spoken to bakers from various seasons who have talked about the fact that they're very aware early on about being mic'd. You obviously working in media have a bit of, a relationship with using microphones and knowing when a mic is live, etc. But in terms of using mics in there, we've always heard from bakers that it's this weird thing they forget. And they forget the truck can hear them and they forget the people can hear them. And that becomes the thing that they worry about the most is I've got a hot mic on at all times. And so, I mean, you would have obviously had a little bit more experience with that.
Yeah, I could never forget that it was on. I forgot to tone down my voice. Like when they test us every morning, we would line up and they got us to count to 10 to test our microphone
levels.
Oh, okay, Dominike is at 15. We're fine for her. I like the loudest of all. And the funniest thing is, I didn't go to the bathroom all day because of that damn microphone.
I was going to say, the one other thing that I have heard so many stories about, not from this series, but from other series around the world, is the whole bathroom situation. And I have been privy to one situation in a grand final setting where somebody dropped their phone in a toilet. And the reason they dropped their phone in the toilet was the microphone pack started falling off. And they had to make a decision, mic pack or phone. They went with the phone, but then they said all they could hear later on when they came out with all the people in the truck laughing, because all they heard was her going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, as she dropped the phone in the toilet.
I mean, literally.
I would just give them fair warning. I'm like, I'm going to the loo now.
You might want to mute it.
You might want to mute.
But I don't think our mic guys would have muted that. But you know what? Every time we went to lunch, they would just say, oh, I'm just going to close your microphone. I never believed it was true.
Well, I mean, if it was me, I would, because I can't stand the sound of people chewing. I go like I have that, what's it called? That audio thing. Where
is it misophonia?
Yeah, misophonia. Like you get miso soup. It drives me nuts, and I will stab someone. So
yeah, I would probably turn that bit of audio off.
Yes.
Look, they just replace it with the Siris and the Alexas and the Googles listening into your conversation instead. So you're replaced with microphones with technology. So same diff. But
sometimes we were talking by signs.
Over.
We kind of knew that everything we would say would make play against us in some way. Like, oh, I can't make bread. They would focus on that.
I'll teach you how to swear in Auslan. Okay, this is gonna be great for podcasting.
This is great. I will talk over this while Kristie teaches to swear in.
This is an Australian one. This is fuck you.
So right? Kristie is now pointing. Yep. 2
fingers. That's fuck you. And this is the Australian bit. Fuck you all.
Which is pointing and then pushing it out wide like you're swimming. It's so we've look. Try it at home. Have a go with the family. Like walk into the room and go, "Hey, family," and point at them with 2 fingers and see what they say. Who knows what the reaction
helpful
is?
In meetings where you're really angry with someone
and you don't want to let them know.
Yeah.
But one of the things you pointed out was you said when they were doing the audio level checks at the start of the day, and it's like Dominik's at 15, okay, we're good. one of our first things we noticed was you're very shy.
And retiring.
Very shy.
We noticed that strutting straight into the tent. You were the first up. That's great. I loved it.
You know, we noticed you're a bit of a wallflower. Didn't say much, and by didn't say much, we mean it became your show.
Sarcasm. The sarcasm.
Yeah, and you know what? They didn't take a lot of cuts from me because of the accent. Sometimes was way too thick. I would mess up an entire sentence, mixing up French and English. So there was a lot of stuff that did not appear, but I was surprised as what they could find. But I was stressed because I've said so much stupid stuff in there. And I really told myself they're never going to air anything from me. Watching the show for years, I've seen people so nice and do some, well, I'm just I'm folding my dough here, and it's all very nice. I could never be calm. Like the producer asked me questions, I was like, go away. I don't want to talk to you. And it's always a mess. Yeah. It was always a mess when they came to me. So I'm surprised they got anything at all from me.
It's one of the things we absolutely love, though, was like you go to the other benches, and you know, as I said, we've known, you know, people like Larry and Anjali for a bit, so we've sort of known them before. So they're very calm and and Larry in particular is very straight down the line with it together, and you know, knows what he's doing. And then they cut to you, and there's just this hurricane of energy.
I loved it.
At the one bench, like not running around, just this one place is just spiraling. And I mean, it's kind of our energy. Yeah. So we're gravitating towards it going, she's sensational. Can we just more Dom?
I don't think you came across stupid at all. I think you were just vivacious and colourful and
100%.
Wonderful.
Well, you know, I didn't care about like I said, before the show, we were all checked by a head doctor to see if we were able to, you know, to live through the pressure. And I told him, I'm aware that I'm not going to be depicted as the calm one.
You're like, I've met me.
Person. You know what? In life, I'm a writer. I never had any ambition to come out as an intellectual on the show ever. I was not going on the show for that. So I didn't care if they took things that I said that were a little not stupid. I don't want to say stupid, but you know,
quirky, eccentric,
out there.
Far more eccentric. And I think that's fine, because I think that you came across as very genuine, like everyone in there. Everyone came.
Well, you're not an act. You are very authentic and genuine, and that's what we love to see in the tent. Like, we don't care if you're like, you know, vivacious and wild and just say what's on your mind. Like that's you, and that's wonderful.
It's one of the things that we like about Bake Off / the baking show, but Bake Off really, around the world, which is that Bake Off gets a lot more of those genuine personalities rather than what you see on a lot of other food shows where someone is portraying some form of act and they're like, oh, this is how I have to perform for this. Whereas what you see from most of the bakers in all of the global versions is them. They're just in there and they're them. And you were very much you.
I think that can be explained by the fact that we are so close, all the bakers, and we are tight like this, and we get into the tent supporting each other so much, and we don't want to bitch about each other. We don't want the others to fail, of course. It's an elimination show. We are all aware of that, but success of the others is the first thing in our minds. Like, we want the others to succeed, and that's why the energy of the show is so authentic, because we genuinely want the others to succeed, and we genuinely love each other. So I think that shows very much into the show.
Absolutely. What I appreciated about you in the pavilion is that I think a lot of other people got to feed off you. Like everyone's nervous of course going in, but you know, like having someone like you who's kind of like, nah, that's fine, we'll just do it this way, helps other people kind of settle in to just, you know.
Oh, I visualized the moment I got into the tent so much. When I first walk into the tent, it's gonna be that way. Like well, I knew, because I was watching the Great British Baking Show, and it's at some point during one season I was watching, I kind of knew that was going to happen to me.
Mm.
Like when you meet your match, like your husband, you know, oh, I'm gonna marry this guy. Like I've seen that episode. It was with Selassie. Yeah, I was looking at Selassie and I realized I was going to go through exactly the same thing, and I didn't want to. I'm so not going there. They're nuts. And I said, I got another thing coming, girl. You're still going.
I'd really like to see you and Selassie together, because like he's very cool, chill, has a nap in front of the oven. And hot.
Yeah. Oh, again, I think we just put the two of you together and just, it's a show.
It's a show.
Whatever comes out of that show is whatever comes out of that show. Who knows? But
Selassie was such a smooth operator. Like I would tease him. He was so smooth guy, and I would love to meet him.
One of the only people that ever made Paul Hollywood just stand back and go, no, you're cool. I'm not. You are cool. You know, because Paul Hollywood spends all his time going, I'm cool, I'm hip, I'm happening, I'm that guy. And then Selassie was in there and he went, no, you dude, you're it. Not me, you.
Exactly.
So obviously, as we've mentioned it before, but, you know, you have a bit of a media background in terms of, you know, you're a writer as well as radio.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I started on the radio in 99.
Yep.
But it's weird because I'm only 25, so that's weird.
I know. Well, such a talented toddler.
I was so very young. I was 5.
Exactly.
What a radio show it was too.
Yes.
So yeah, I started on the radio because I just wanted to do interviews. I love interviewing people. So sometimes when I am the one who's getting interviewed, I start asking questions to people because I like interviewing people. So I get to meet singers, musicians, things like that. Wow. So that was very cool. And I started to write books because I had nothing else to do. I learned languages. I learned Russian, German, and then I wrote books. And eventually I felt like I need another creative outlet.
Wow.
Like baking is so creative.
Yes.
I mean, when you make a cake, how it's going to look, and it's less difficult. Like it's not like torture, mental torture.
Yeah,
like when you write a book, you're got wine and it's torture. It's mental. my mind is bleeding right now, and now baking is so much simpler than that.
Yeah, and there's an end product.
It's so creative. So that's why I love it so much.
No, but the interview thing, I mean, obviously we 100% agree with the interview thing because, you know, it's one of our favorite parts of doing the podcast is when we just get to sit down and chat. And that's, you know, again, we've said all the time when we talk to people about doing this is that we don't view these as interviews in terms of, and now, so when you were born, it was a warm summer's day? Was that when it was? We prefer it's a conversation and we like having good conversation. And I think one of the things we've seen with all of the bakers in the pavilion is that you get just great, genuine conversation out there. So, I mean, the show is for you liking interviews, liking to get to know people, liking that creativity. It's a blending of all of the sort of different facets of your personality that sort of gives you the chance to sort of shine the best.
Yes, and you know what? Being from Quebec, it's not a big city. It's a city, but everybody's pretty much the same in Quebec City. Everybody dresses in the same store, things like that. So what I really wanted to get from the show was to meet people from all around Canada, from all cultures of Canada, and be really close to them. So that was my big goal going on the show, to meet all these people and be close to them. And so with Sheldon, we became very close. With Oyax, we became very close. Bertie also. So I get to meet great people that I could not even think of meeting in other ways. So that's what I really wanted to do on the show.
And it's one of those things as well that I always find fascinating about Canadian, because you've got the Francophone and the English as well. It's an interesting mix when you get, obviously, you know, and you know, the different histories of the provinces and those sorts of backstories. It's always interesting, I find, when you get the blend between the two, how those personalities play out and how that interaction plays out.
Yeah, absolutely.
like I kind of look at Australia, and we're a bit like, you know, we're spread out similar to Canada, you know, large area with like, you know, pockets of civilization, I was going to say, but, you know, like of cities and people. But in Australia, we're quite homogenous, you know, like it's, you know, you can go to Perth which is directly across the country if you go horizontally for about 6 hours by a plane. And it's very similar to Sydney. I mean, it's very, very small, like Perth is tiny. It's a city, I say that, and yet their wine country is 10 minutes from the CBD. Like, it's insane.
Which is a good call. But
it's still very similar. Like you go to Melbourne or Adelaide, and it's all very similar. Whereas in Canada, what I found is like these beautifully diverse cultures. And it's that whole, you know, having had French colonies and British colonies, and, you know, your Indigenous population, you know, is also quite, how can I, like from the outsiders looking in, is quite varied as well because of the kind of climate extremes as well.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I worked for the Huron Reservation a couple of years ago as a guide, and it was very interesting to learn the deep story of the country, how it was founded, how the money came to pot in the country with the meeting with Europeans. And so, yeah, the story of the country is very interesting. And yeah, the climate is very different too. We can see that some people that live closer, like Sheldon, doesn't have the same habits as I do. We all live in different climates. We all live in different kind of cities. So yeah, it is very interesting to see the diversity of our lives, like what we do in our pastimes, where we go, where we visit, the pictures of the landscape surrounding us. So yeah, it's very interesting. When we got to talk about it, it was very interesting.
It's one of those things to, like, again, because you've got the extremes, you know, you've got the, you know, Vancouver and the differences in Vancouver. You've got the people in Toronto and also in the Greater Toronto area, which again is vastly different from the other areas around there. Then you've got obviously Quebec. So that the differences, it's so vital, really. It's like it's different, like different vital pockets of differences. But when they come together, it's spectacular. And that's one of the other joys of, again, Bake Off, is that it brings those sort of differences together in a way that's really natural. It's not forced. It's not, hey, we're all going to get together now and be, you know, we're all in this together, hands across the world sort of bakers. It's just, we're here to bake and we come from different places, and let's just share the different strategies and the different ways we do this.
Yeah, that was very cool. That was very cool because between the bakes, we were all like in the circle, 6 feet apart of each other, talking about our favorite mixers.
It's only in Bake Off can you have that conversation, by the way.
What's like I remember one time we were all sitting in circle, like far away from each other. So for me, it was harder to keep up with the conversation because they spoke really fast in English. And sometimes I kind of lost train of the conversation. So suddenly Oyax, he turns to me and he goes, "And you, Dominique?" I'm like, "What?"
And me, what?
What is your favorite cheese to work with? I'm like, whoa, that was the question.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay. So that was very funny. We always had very good conversations about baking. So we were all linked by our passion for baking, our knowledges, the different opinions we had about this thing and that thing. We'd share recipes. That was really great.
And the hardest part about that conversation is when you cut over to Rafficat and she goes, "Cheese." Cheese?
No.
Why would you use cheese?
That's outrageous.
We will riot. We will tear this pavilion down if you
Surely
make us.
all of your French ancestors just like screamed. What is this woman not liking cheese?
Screaming, "La merde!" No. So But again, it's. I think that the natural way that the show allows for personalities to come out suits again the sort of creativity and things that you were talking about in your background and what really makes you go. And so then you get this lovely blend when you go in there. And again, the first week you get a mirror glaze, a 3-tier mirror glaze, which that's an interesting one to start with. As everyone else has said when we've spoken to them about it, and I don't know how you view it. You don't normally make 3-tiered cakes just sitting around the house doing nothing.
In my gown, I make 3 tiers mirror glaze all the time.
Yes.
My house is nothing but them.
Just you and your 3 cats and your husband. I know that feeling. You just go around dripping in jewelry, going, I want more mirror glaze in my life.
I'm entertaining my people with mirror glaze like all the time.
That's kept in the mirror glaze room, right? Which is like.
Let me tell you a little story here. When I learned that was going to be one of the first challenges, I was in remote, doing remote, like live commercials in the pool store.
Oh my gosh.
I was selling pool live on the air. And suddenly I got this email, like I have to do a mirror glaze. And I'm like, oh. And I was on air, and I just glanced at the email. I'm like, what? And I continue because it was a minute-long advertising, and I had to continue with the same tone in my voice, and it was very hard. And after that, I remember that I panicked.
You're like, what? I can't believe this pool is only this price.
It's basically like that, like literally. I remember that this weekend, I had very good live advertising, with a lot of surprises. It's crazy! The price when you buy your pool here, I won't believe my eyes when I. So yeah, it was weird at the beginning because it took us out of our comfort zone so far. Like the comfort zone is a dot.
It's way in the distance.
Years away. But we had to do it.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea. You're like 3 tiers of waterfall feature over the top of your pool. Why not? I mean, why not luxury?
Yeah.
I'm here for opulence. But no, it was an interesting one to sort of start with, and I don't think it was. I think a lot of people at home, and we talked about this with Anjali as well. The idea of everyone at home, 3-tiered mirror, that's fine. And then you think about it for 2 seconds and you go, no, that's absurd.
But it was wonderful to watch.
But it was great to watch, and it made for great Instagram.
That's the point. I always had what do they want to show on TV? They want us to do something on TV. So they want us to do the actual pouring of the glaze. They want to show that on TV. So I understood the TV need that they had to feel they need to have us use this object. They need to do that to the dough. So yeah, it was to make good TV, and I understood that.
Now, one of the other things I was going to say that I really appreciated about you in the pavilion is we have an affinity for boozy bakers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And so especially when you're making a dark rum jam,
why just do jam when you go down rum?
Well, you need your rum. I mean, you have to go somewhere, so the rum has to go somewhere.
It's a requirement. Yeah. And
I had whiskey, a lot of whiskey in my bread in episode 2.
Yep.
I always find a way because I always do that.
Yes.
Because I don't bake for kids.
No.
Nice.
So I bake for grown-ups who drinks. So
that's the way to do it.
It was nice to see people like us represented on TV, just married couples with 3 cats, no kids, just
cats.
It was great. I'm going, Chris, finally.
As we record this, to pull the curtain back a little bit, our eldest and slightly somewhat approaching senility, Kat, is jumping across kitchen benches and falling off them. It's great. It's wonderful while we're recording. It's a fantastic thing to watch.
I had to stop her eating cat litter this morning. It was they don't tell you that
when they get old, they get senile and start
eating
eating cat litter. But
I saw the picture. Did you? It was your cat that you posted this morning, right?
Yeah, that
The
was
little gray one.
that was the I posted a photo this morning on
Somni?
yeah, it was the our youngest cat when she was about 4 weeks old.
Oh,
And it's a really cool. I'll put the photo up on the Washing Up Instagram.
yeah.
It's a photo. There's 2 photos in that, and I've got to find the second one. So the first photo that appears in this is she looks like in Shrek with Puss in Boots, where the eyes are wide and just smile, and it looks so cute and innocent. And I hit the button twice for the photo, and literally I hit that button and it looks cute. And as I hit the button the second time, she opened her mouth, hissed at me, and went ah, and there's fangs and mouth, and it's the most savage cat you've ever seen. But the first photo looks so sweet, and they're like, oh, she's so sweet and innocent. And I'm looking at it going, less than a second later, she was trying to kill me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're evil.
But you know this, given cats. You know this, given the joys of cats in there.
Yes, and here's Polly now to come and join the podcast.
So while Polly's sitting there watching us do this, on the jam, what I found really interesting was you talked about how boozy it was, obviously, with the rum and things like that.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Kyla then said that it reminded her of her aunt's jam.
Yeah, it was not this one.
Okay.
She was talking about the strawberry and cilantro one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And did you go and steal Kyla's aunt's recipe, or stalk her, or just have you got the same?
Not the boozy one. It could have been the boozy one.
You go and hang out with Kyla's aunt for a bit, steal the recipe, make sure it's great. Perfect. Go and do some backstory. Go and do some backstory on who these people are. Find out their recipes, steal them, bring them in. I know you like them. It's your family.
I think it's wonderful though. For me, it's the highest compliment someone can give if they say this reminds me of someone's bake. I mean, not necessarily my mum because she blows stuff up, but I went down to probably 2 hours south of where we live along the coast, and I dropped into this cafe, and they served these bread and butter pickles with the sandwich that they gave us, and it was the same pickles as my grandfather used to make, and it just took me back, and I'm like, I can't even recreate this. It brought tears to my eyes, and I'm like, just beautiful little memories. So, for Kyla to say, this is like my aunt's jam, as long as her aunt's not like my mum, you're sorted.
As long as when you watch something like, Alien versus Predator, and it reminds you of the time she cooked duck. I mean, that's, you don't want that in your memories. But that, and it's come up a few times actually in this series with you and with a couple of other bakers, where I think Mahathi's done it a few times as well, where it's using those family recipes and just the joy that everyone gets when the judges go, no, be proud of this one. This is, the family. And it goes to show that connection that baking has, and also the emotion of baking. It's far more emotional than I think people give it credit for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because when we have to present a recipe, it's got to have a backstory. It's got to have passion. It's got to have something. It's not fast food. It's soul food. It's love. It's cat jump on the.
Oh yeah, she's trying to walk across the keyboard.
Distracting us at the moment. We're sorry.
So yeah, when we're preparing for the show, we're thinking, all right, what can I get from my background that could impress them, that could make them go, oh wow, that's a good recipe. And it's a shame that it was, of course, it's an hour show. They had to edit a lot of comments, but a lot of comments were edited out that were, oh yeah, look.
There she goes.
She did it that time. But they do. Oh, it's Cat Central. For those who obviously can't see, we've all got cats in now.
Yes.
But no, they have to edit those comments out, which always sucks because, you're like, but I said some really good stuff, or this is really good. But you get those moments at least.
So what's something that was edited out that you'd love to share?
On Italian week, my biscottis, I had this theme of everything was carnival-y, was bigger, and I made biscottis twice as big as the others because it was carnival. My team was carnival, and Bruno said, without me saying to him the theme of my bake, he said, it's like when you go to the fair and you take your baked good and you just eat it like there's no tomorrow. And he really got what I was doing, and I got out of the tent and I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
got exactly what I wanted to channel like this time.
That's fantastic.
That's the
Yeah.
and that's the joy, is that you can see when Bruno and Kyla give feedback, you can see, and we've said this a few times, that you get genuine feedback,
Mhm.
and the level of the feedback that people are getting is really good, because it's not just, you know, again, and you see on things like British, I think in the last few seasons, you've seen like Paul Hollywood in particular, like giving really cryptic advice that's not necessarily ultra helpful. It's just pointed for what they're talking about on camera, and that's it. Whereas Bruno and Kyla, when they give feedback, even when they're giving something that may not have gone brilliantly, it's really constructive, and they're looking for where the positives are. They go, we see what you're trying. This might not have worked, but this is really good. Your idea is really solid. Stick with that. Like, again, the other day with Sheldon, when Sheldon did his strudel, and they were talking about, I love the idea. I love the concept. The nuts are really good. Put the nuts in the strudel. It'll add the crunch element to it. Then you would definitely have something here that was amazing. And that's that level of feedback that I think the bakers, and you can speak more to that, obviously, appreciate.
Yeah. Some people, there's some people that appreciate maybe a little less because it's all a question of point of view.
Yeah.
Like, it's an opinion. It's not the truth. It's an opinion.
But everyone's opinion. So that's the thing. Like, it's always about that.
But I loved it because it was my motto. Like, I'm going to go on that show and I'm going to get notes. I'm going to get coaching from those people. I'm not going to be Kyla. Like, Kyla and Bruno, you're not going to stand in front of them twice in your life. So I really wanted to take those moments. They were in front of me to ask my questions and to have their truthful comments and to have their solutions. Like, what would you have done? The judging was very long, in fact. And sometimes I said, like, how would you have done it? I really want to know. And they gave me really good pointers, and that helped my skills getting even better when I came back.
Yeah. And
I presume that was cat interference as well.
So let's talk about the cats, shall we? Because we need to talk about the cats.
Tell us about your cats, because they appeared on Bakes.
And you are representing us. They appeared in cookie form. So
yeah. I mean, my 3 cats and cookies. And Kyla said that she never saw so much, so good piping in someone piped cats. So you know, the first one, the big one, is Toulouse.
Toulouse, like
French city, Toulouse.
Oh, Toulouse, yeah.
The small one is Eddie boy.
Nice.
And I have Charlene. She's a princess.
Oh, okay. Bit of a Miss Theron, is she?
Oh, she's a princess, Charlene. So, yeah. So this one, he wants to talk to you.
Oh, he's a chunky.
Oh, he's big. He's a big boy.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but it's good to see. It's good for us to see. It was good to see, you know, a couple with cats represented.
Yes.
Because, you know, all these people talking about, I bake for my children, I bake for the rest of my... No. We bake for us and the cats. And, like, represent.
Yeah, I'm very proud of my lifestyle. I really appreciate what I have. Well, because I personally don't have kids, but Dennis, my fiance, he does have a 27-year-old son, which is weird because I'm 25. But
Exactly.
It's nice to be, you know, the second young wife. Just
yeah. So his son James is 27, and he's gonna be a daddy in a couple of months. So I'm gonna be a sexy grandma.
There you go. That'll be, and then you can represent that in cookie form too. So,
cookies, my friends.
So with having been in the pavilion and stuff and being a writer, are you finding that baking or the bake-off experience has had any impact on your writing, or is there going to be a murder mystery about bakers?
Well, I don't write anymore. Well, let me tell you why. Because it's a business that's very slow.
Yeah.
For me.
Mhm.
I need action, like I'm a snowboarder. I need action, like you might get killed action. Like
I'm shocked.
snowboarding.
I'm shocked.
And writing.
This is my surprised face. there's one thing I'm sitting there going, I like a lot of action. No.
So the writing business, although very cool, it's a little slow for me.
Static.
Right?
It's very static.
And it's pretty safe, you know. No one's died writing.
Well, actually, yeah, they have. But, you know.
Yeah, because it's so long.
Yeah.
Like they died waiting for their publisher to answer their emails.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard of? And his family finished the book.
Okay.
Many times.
But writing didn't actually kill you. You might have died while writing. I mean, we're all praying George R. R. Martin just, you know, finishes Game of Thrones.
Where he's going, yeah.
Come on.
You know what? If I die writing a book, I want Salieri to finish my book.
Oh, that'd be good.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be great. I like it's like I mean, Terry Pratchett didn't get to finish, you know, all of his series.
Yes, Hatful of Stars.
I know he didn't get to finish it off. So, you know, I like the idea that someone else comes in who's never read the series and just has to finish it. Like they just start writing a brand new character who's never appeared in the books before.
Yeah. Or that's true.
Murder mystery that halfway through becomes just a story about baking. I mean, there's options there.
It's the body of a really nice bread dough.
What, you know what? I can start. I may start writing again when I'm like 78.
Fair enough. You know,
When I stop snowboarding, I can write again. I have a lot of manuscript in my computer right now that are just waiting to be published. A lot are finished, but I just don't have the energy to wait for answers from publishers, and it's so long.
There's want some immediate satisfaction.
There's snowboard runs to go down.
You don't want a long time. You want it quick and fast and hard with an immediate ending that's satisfying.
That's why I started my own publishing thing on Amazon, because I have complete control of everything that I did. But let me tell you a little secret. The books that I published myself on Amazon, they're a little spicy.
Oh, she's Prue Leith.
Oh, she's Prue Leithing it.
I don't know if you've heard that. I don't know if you know that, but Prue Leith, who's the female judge in British, her side job outside of her baking is that she writes steamy romance and sex novels.
She does?
Yes, she does.
Well, we got something in common.
You are Canada's answer to Prue Leith. There you go. Hang on a minute. While you talk about this, I'm just going to go to Amazon. You talk among yourselves. I'm just going to Amazon this up. No, please continue.
So you say you do snowboarding. What other extreme sports are you into?
Oh. Well, I'm very I'm a snowboarder. Like I eat snowboard. Literally. Okay. I dress in Burton all the time. I this season was bad. Like Chris, my pseudo is Miss Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm already there. I'm already there.
This is what we're plugging for you on the podcast. Yes.
I'm finding all the books.
It's called, well, I have one in English though. It's called The Archangel of the Caribbean. It's about a pirate. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm happy with this. This is good. Right. I've got some reading. Cool. And there's some translation going on. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's a bit steamy, a bit spicy, you know, we've found our hand. And look, I get the feeling it's going to be good steam and good spice. So I'm just judging it off the personality. I think we're there. In terms of within the pavilion, before we get back to the steam and the spice, in the pavilion, if you had the option of setting your own challenge, one that you're like, I'm going to knock this is mine. You can set any baking challenge you want. What would you want to bake?
Donuts.
That was fast. I like it when someone knows.
Oh yeah, I'm the donut lady. I started my career. I brought donuts to the morning show guys at the radio station I worked to. Yeah. And the show ended at 9. At 9:20, there were no more donuts in the box. So the guys on the drive were always like mad about that. So I started my so donut is really it's my big thing.
What's your favorite flavor? Like, do you like a jam donut, or do you like it with icing?
What's my favorite? I love them all.
Sorry, I don't mean to make you pick between your babies.
It's like, what's your favorite? Yes.
Like, yeah, it's like Sophie's Choice here. I can't decide.
I'm a mad fan for a good jam donut. Like
Yeah, there's a one that I make. It's like a cinnamon icing with those cinnamon cereal. It's like cinnamon is. I don't think you have that over there. It's like a cinnamon bread cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah.
I think, yeah. And then I put the icing directly, like the donut directly.
So you crunch, dip it in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh,
that's crazy.
That's my favorite donut.
It is a breakfast donut.
I mean,
Yeah,
all donuts
I think
are
that's my
breakfast donuts, but
Yeah, like a donut isn't any time food.
it is, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Like people who try to argue that there's a set time for donuts aren't living.
Yes.
That's what I've always found. So was there a week that you were hoping for, that you were like, this is the one where I'm going to just crush it? And was there one was there an idea that you were going, I hope they don't have this week in there?
Well, I don't know why, but I was brought up to be a very confident person.
No, shocked.
Unfortunately, every challenge we had, to me, it was like, oh, I got this. In the tent, at the second you start baking, like you secretly know if it's going to go well or if it's going to go down, So I couldn't admit anything because I didn't want to, but every challenge I went into it saying, yeah, that's my go-to challenge. I'm going to nail this thing. Well, of course, it's a good state of mind because otherwise it would have been, pretty stressful to be in the tent. Like, oh, this one scares me so much. Oh, this one I can do. No, I went in the tent saying, oh, this one I'm going to nail. This one I'm going to nail. This one I'm going to nail. And if I don't, so be it, But there were some technicals that were not good. That was very scary. The technicals were very scary. So these, I knew I couldn't nail them.
Was it like, could you have requested the recipe in French? Because
you know what? I didn't realize that it was an issue until the challenge that killed me. Like, chinning. Like,
you're over it though. You're fine.
I mean, I have so much respect for anyone that's bilingual that goes into that tent, like, with English maybe not being the first language that they speak. I mean, it just, so much respect.
I didn't realize why it took me longer than the others to start baking. Like, I really wanted to read it, and sometimes I didn't get.
It's the process. The process.
Yeah. When I've been speaking English since I was young, so I don't need to translate in French before and then.
Yeah.
But the instructions, sometimes the wording of the sentence, the way the instructions were given to us, it was harder for me to get what we had to do, like, properly. And I realized that week 4. It was the language. Before that, I thought I was just, I don't know, I don't understand, I don't know why. And suddenly I realized, boy, if that sentence was in French, I would have understood it so much better. And it took me a while to get that.
Yeah, and that's understandable. So with reality shows, like, this is technically a reality show. Is there a reality show that you would like, another one that you'd like to go on, or, is it Survivor?
I want to go on The Amazing Race.
Yes.
Oh, you'd be fantastic on The Amazing Race.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah, me and Anjali, we want to go on The Amazing Race together.
Oh yeah,
that would be brilliant.
Oh
okay,
yeah, we would be firmly your team as well. I think that's great. And then what we do is when everything
You'd
opens,
be the Baker Buddies.
when everything opens back up. No, I've come up with an idea.
What?
So everything opens back up. Amazing Race Canada happens. They send you all to Australia.
Yes.
You just have to survive to that point. After that, don't worry about it, and we'll just make it an extended Australian stay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I'm all for that.
I'm fine with that.
If you like experiences where you just, like, risk your life, just walk through our entryway into our house. We've got, at last count, 21 house spiders, they're medically significant. They're not going to kill you, but like with 21, they might.
If they really decided to have a go.
They're really shy and retiring, and I refuse to let anyone kill them because I really like spiders. They're not funnel webs. They're not like ones that are going to just kill you over quickly.
Well, you know what? One time I went into Cuba in the Cayo Santa Maria before all the big hotels were constructed. And during the night, I just go to the bathroom like at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this feeling.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know why. I have this feeling that I have to just look up. I don't know why. Like, it's midnight, I'm half asleep, and I'm like, something in my head tell me, look up. I take a peek, and there's a spider, like, as big as my face on the ceiling of the room.
Probably one of the tarantulas.
Now I know that if I wake up Dennis screaming, he's going to get disoriented. So I'm like, babes, we gotta change room. What you say?
Right.
Well, there's a little spider in the bathroom. He's like, killer. No.
No, this wouldn't be a murder. This would be hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, yeah, and she's got 8 of them. So at midnight, we go back to the front desk. I'm like fuming. Oh, I'm so going off this hotel. I'm going off this island. I'm going back home, man. So the guy comes with us. And he's like the guy taking care of the cleaning during the night. And he goes back, he goes into the room, he comes back, and he looks at me and said, I kill her. And he's like, I killed like Sauron kind of thing. Like
Shelob from Lord of the Rings, yes.
He looks at me and he goes, it was like this, right?
Yes. Oh.
So I know in Australia, you have all sorts of weird things.
The bird-eating spider, that's like the size of a chihuahua. Like, there's great ones.
We've got lots of them.
It's not the big ones you should be worried about, though. It's the really small ones, like the redback, which is really tiny. And it's like a black widow, but it's got like a red stripe on its back.
Oh my gosh.
They're bad.
Yeah, the smaller ones are actually the really dangerous ones.
But in my life, I've only ever seen 2 redbacks. Like, I'm like you, I've only been here 25 years.
It's a couple of 25-year-olds. Like, this is a great conversation.
Hanging out. Look at us.
So,
Gen Z.
no, I don't have an age.
Real.
I don't have an age. I'm timeless.
Loving the new Little Nas.
Yeah,
Lil Nas.
I'm timeless. So, I don't have age. I don't believe in it. Yeah, you mentioned before as well that when you're doing it, being interviewed, you frequently start interviewing the people that you're being interviewed by. So with that in mind, any questions?
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys are married, right?
Yes.
I hope so.
We've got different names, but we're married.
I hope so.
Did you have people tell you, oh, you worked, but what if you get divorced? What's going to happen to what you do?
No.
Did you have people say that to you?
Wait, hypothetically, I don't know how this would happen, but it's even hard to imagine, like, because he's my second husband, and I know what a shit marriage is like. And you know what I mean? Like, I know, I now see the signs looking back of, okay, we weren't right for each other. And it's like with Chris, everything's easy. I mean,
my biggest problem with that, when you talk about that, would be that I set all these jokes up and I'd lose the punchline. And so, like, who am I going to throw jokes to? I mean, I start lobbing these jokes in the air and, like, no one's going to hit them out of the park.
And, like Somni's useless. That's the youngest cat.
Our youngest cat. She's terrible.
She wouldn't help with that. I think she'd forcefully keep us together. I don't think.
Oh yeah, 100%. We have a youngest cat that would insist on it.
But just like a claw in each arm, like, you humans aren't going anywhere.
But no, it's and one of the things that actually helps with that is the whole, because the dynamic for us is just easy. This is just our normal conversation. Like, we're not putting. There's no act here. This is how we would normally have a conversation sitting on the lounge watching something. So that dynamic is not something that would be replicated anyway. So that's
what makes you like both interested in Canadian television like this?
I think the thing about Canadian television is it's what I when Australian television is good, it's what I see in Canadian television. Like Australia is such a, how can I put it? It is such a juxtaposition of what people think Australia is like in terms of, you know, we're friendly, we're welcoming and stuff, to what is actually going on. Like at the moment, our parliament is in disarray. Our prime minister was more shocked that someone ejaculated on a desk than a woman was raped in parliament at the moment. Like, we've got massive racial injustices. We've got human rights injustices with refugees. And Australian media, while it's trying to be more diverse, is primarily white people. That's on media. And it's so hard to change because the media people in Australia are so, how can I put it, incestuous. Like, you see the same faces over and over again.
There's an echo chamber.
Yeah. So watching Canadian, it's beautiful, you know, like it's, you know, diversity is not a chore. It just is.
A lot of the time in Australian television, you get diversity because we need to cast somebody in that role. And one of the things that we've seen a lot, and especially I can speak for the baking show, is that diversity is not something that's done because you need to do it. Diversity is something that is natural because we pick the best bakers for it, regardless of who they might be, regardless of their background, regardless of sexual preference, regardless of sexual identity, what gender identity, whatever it is. We pick the best people. And we pick the people that are going to go forward and have a good mix and get this sort of show together. And we've done all of the different versions of Bake Off from...
And, like, you know, kudos to Australian Bake Off, because it's very similar in that. That's what I mean. It's like when Australian shows are done with that authenticity and that care and that love, you get that. And so, you know, when we came across Canadian baking show, it was kind of like another step upwards. So that's what we loved.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's a hockey nut.
I also, I've got a lot of affinity in general with Canada. So that also helps. And there's a lot of other Canadian TV that, you know, watching around things like the baking show anyway. And it's just, again, I think Australia, whereas, as Kristie said, there are still a lot of issues, there is also a general ethos between Australia and Canada that's fairly close in many regards. The sense of humour is very much the same. It's very much the same. And so it's really interesting. And we've talked openly about this, and I'll continue to say it openly. Great British Bake Off has sort of, in the last 4 to 5 years, not been as good as it has been previously. And I've maintained this, and I will maintain this. Canadian and Australian have actually surpassed what British does. And they're more of a genuine show. And that's one of the things that just keeps us coming back with this. And one of the reasons why, rather than just go, oh, we'll watch it. And it's like, no, we need to engage. We need to do more with this because it's that sort of show. You can do more with it.
God, you're a bloody good interviewer. I haven't thought that well. I'm learning.
What is your favorite bake? Like, in general, what do you like?
I like eclairs.
Oh, you do?
I'm a bandit for eclairs and profiteroles.
You're a bandit for a good choux pastry.
I like choux.
When I revealed to Kristie that one of my secret skills was being able to make perfect choux pastry.
I think that's the moment I fell in love with it.
It's true, or is that sarcasm again?
No, that's true.
I actually one of the, and I didn't even realize that I had that skill. But I've never made a bad batch of profiteroles. I've never had a choux fail. Never. So I can't explain it. Don't ask me. I've had other bakes fall apart. I famously had I was doing a bake once, which was going to be, so we were joking around about a watermelon cake.
Because my mum was trying to be healthy and make a watermelon look like a
cake. So I went, well, no, I had 2 big giant sphere tins and was going to make a watermelon cake. So use red velvet with chocolate chips for the pips and stuff like that and make it like that. And our oven died in the middle of the bake and I didn't realize. And so I pulled it out and it was runny and I was like trying to put it together and it's gloopy. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. And so, yeah, I don't know. I like a good choux. I do like a good choux pastry.
You're a tart and a flan fan. Though.
I am very much a flan fan. I do like a good flan. I like a good flan.
Really?
Yeah, I like a good flan. I like a good tart.
That's why he married me.
But I'm ching, everyone a winner. Every joke is a winner. No, it's, again, I think that the other thing that I like too with Canadian is taking the bakes that are, and we said this season especially, there's been a few of these technicals that have been in other series around the world.
Yeah.
And they've not gone well in other places. And except for last week, and except
that's an exception
for the Bakewell, every other one that they've done, which has come from somewhere else, they've nailed it absolutely perfectly. There's been like just straight through, no problems. And then you go back and watch the version in British, for example, which has happened a couple of times. And you're like, they really couldn't make that. So I think
because we had the reference, like with the Stroopwafel, when they first said to us, that's what you're going to bake, I didn't know what it was. And then I had a flash like, oh, I've seen this in the British version. So I remembered the outcome.
Yeah.
So
where everyone failed.
I knew where I was going for. The canoncini, I remember that I've seen it in the British version also. And I remember the cones with the dough all collapsing, and it was, oh no, not that nightmare. And that it's if I do this technical in my house, it's gonna go well. If I do it in a tent where it's 40 degrees and the counter is very hot because the ovens were running at 475, the butter was melting like it was crazy. Like it was not the right condition to get it right. So even though you know the outcome, you know how it's supposed to look, and I would have loved to see one thing on TV, like when we did the canoncini, it was a question of to spray or not to spray.
Yep.
The cone. So I didn't know because I was foreseeing the thing sticking to the cone and the disaster. So I just looked, we didn't have the right to talk to each other during the technicals. So I just looked at Mahati, she was in front of me and she was spraying. And she was looking at Larry, who was spraying. So Larry, Mahati, me. So we were all looking like at Larry, what he was doing, and he sprayed. So we all sprayed because, you know, Larry's doing it.
Everyone look at Larry. What's Larry doing? Larry's spraying. Spray. Definitely spray. Definitely spray.
I would have loved them to edit the show, like me looking at Mahati. Larry kept spraying the thing. That would have been so good.
Just get the camera shot from Larry's bench to Mahati's bench to your bench with the three of you just sort of tiered. That would have been spectacular. And again, it's always the fun part with the technical, because we know, like, you know, not supposed to communicate during the technical, but it's also really hard when everyone gets along so well to go, no. And we've talked about that before with when we spoke to Devon from a couple of seasons ago, where they were watching the cookies being baked. And at the end of when Andre was in front of him baking, and he said, I didn't stand, and there's a shot, which was Devon just standing off to the side eating a cookie. And I went, why were you doing that? He goes, because I couldn't do anything else. I wasn't allowed to talk to him, wasn't allowed to go to the bench. So I just stood over at the side eating a cookie and watching him finish.
You know what? I reckon we should petition Elon Musk to come up with a cooling system for bake-off tents. You know, that's quiet, that's not going to interfere with the production.
He can make good use of his money rather than, you know, philanthropy for his benefit.
I know. Like,
yeah, it was very cold in the morning when we first arrived in the tent. It was very cold because in late summer it was very cold, and I remember that I was hoping that my breast wouldn't show that it was very cold. And it did. But
I've got a 2-nipple salute here in the morning.
Chicken's ready.
But it got hotter as the day went forward. Yeah.
It's even more of a challenge because, like, it falls in line with the mission to Mars. I mean, Mars is going to have like climate issues. It's going to get very cold at night, hot during the day.
So what you're suggesting is test on the bake-off tents. You know, like, it's cold in the morning, hot during the day. It's the perfect conditions to see if you can control a climate. So you are suggesting that Elon Musk tests his Mars climate solution in the pavilion.
I've got a friend who's in the Mars X group. Maybe I should just tell her. Like,
I'm sure she can get that information across, and I'm sure Elon will listen.
Yeah.
So,
and they get free bakes out of it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gets cake. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Come on.
And look, he wins. Clearly, he can't look. Where else is the man going to get cake? It's very difficult if you're Elon Musk to source cake. Before we finish up, do you have anything you want to promote? Want to Are you selling pools again?
It's coming up to summer for you guys.
Yeah. Have you thought about
I started my website. It's called Dominike.com. I sell stuff in Quebec City, of course. I deliver, so I go to people's house, and the challenge when you deliver yourself is being able not to talk for 15 minutes to each person you deliver your stuff to. So that for me,
that's a challenge.
Oh, it's so hard. It's incredible. So, I'm baking for my people right now, and I'm going to continue baking. I'm making cake for people. I'm getting into the wedding cake business now.
Ooh.
So, so baking's the life. And maybe I'll write a book or two soon.
And I'm just saying right now, I'm just browsing the site while we're talking. I'm browsing the site. And first of all, people, if you get on there, if you are in Quebec, there is a delivery zone map for a start, so you can see where you can and cannot get deliveries. But secondly, these look the red velvet biscuits. My word!
Like they ate you in a biscuit.
Oh,
you know what? Every night, my cat, he comes at 2:10 in the morning, 2:10, like precise, to wake me up. He bits me like under the arm right here, and he wants to get fed at 2 in the morning. And instead of sending him away, I go to the kitchen and I eat those damn cookies. So,
like, you get food? I get food.
When I do my production every week, I do a couple extra for myself.
Clever, very clever. That's what you've got to do.
And when I jump into that, there's no coming back from that.
So again, pseudonym.com. Go and check that out. Trust me, it's very much. I'm sitting here going, we're outside the delivery zone. So
we'll just have to move to Quebec.
We'll have to move. Yeah, we'll just have to move. So thank you very much, Dominike, for your time. It has been absolutely fantastic to get to talk to you.
Well, you know what? You too. When you come to Canada, of course, you have to come to dinner with me and Dennis.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, that's got to happen.
You have to come here. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We've got a tour planned. We're hitting all the stops. We're ready to go. We've got a lot of things. We've got a lot of things in mind.
Yes.
Thank you, Dom, for your time. Until next time, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
We'll catch you all later.
Goodbye.